Who's up?
When you decided to take the Seahawks job last year, how much of that just had to do with the personal convenience of staying in Seattle?
That was part of it. I think there's a lot of factors that went into that decision, but certainly, not having to uproot my family and things like that were part of it, but definitely wasn't the only factor.
Was that also when Coach Saban offered you a job, where it's pretty much the same?
No, it wasn't. That was a little bit more. That was really hard. Obviously respect the heck out of Coach Saban. That one was a little bit more just the guys I had in the locker room at Washington. And, Mike Penix, the relationship I had with him, and Roma Dunze and Jalen McMillan, Troy Fatanu, those guys all went to the NFL. We knew we were poised for a really big season. I just felt like that would have been pretty hard for me to walk away from those guys.
So what have you seen already from the three quarterbacks, 2 practices in?
A lot of things. I think that they each, just like any quarterback, have their own individual, strengths and weaknesses. And I think, Ty has done a good job. I thought he had the biggest jump from day 1 to day 2, just as far as like being able to take in all the information, process quickly and move. Austin's done a really good job of showing command for a young player. And then Keelan is awesome, man. He's very unflappable. And, even when things don't go right, and they invariably will for a freshman quarterback, I think he's done an awesome job of just kind of staying the course and being very steady. And he can make a lot
What's
think
going to be your compared to other young quarterbacks that you've coached?
it's been a while. I thought, one of the things I noticed, think about Jake Haener way back to Fresno State, who's at the Saints now. Jake had a really whippy, quick release. Once he made his decision, he was very decisive with the ball. I see that with Key a lot. And then Keelan's vision reminds me of Mike a little bit. Penix, he has good, wide vision with the field and can see it even when he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So he's still working through all the processes, but he'll get there. He's a good player.
What's going to be your approach with how you kind of oversee the offense? Because you have Nick Sheridan now with the quarterbacks, but obviously that's a high, important position.
Yeah.
Are you going to spend more time there, you think, or just?
Yeah, I always think it's got to start with the quarterback room. You got to have if I don't have a relationship with the guy that's throwing the ball or in the huddle on Saturdays, I think that, I'd be putting Alabama at a disadvantage. So I always got to be on the same page with those guys in sync. Nick being here obviously is a huge advantage to me just because it gives me the flexibility to be in the rooms that I need to be in and talk to the people I got to talk to. And so I think that part for me has been it's been awesome already. That way if another position group or coach needs help, I can move myself into that room and try to utilize my skills with the offense somewhere else. But, most of the time it's always going to be with the quarterbacks. I just think that relationship is key.
Along those lines, being that your background is with offensive line, how's your relationship developed with Coach Kapilovic?
Yeah, it's been great. Cap does a great job. I think sometimes, guys they don't know how to take that when an OC has, at least some background in offensive line. Are you going to be infringing on them? But I think Cap does a great job of just being open and, thinking about the things that can help the unit and, my perspective on the offense that can potentially help him out. So it's been great. It's been really good.
What are your thoughts on that unit so far, and how much of a challenge is it kind of piecing together with you have a few guys out, I guess?
Yeah, we got a couple guys out for sure. So, which is just more reps and opportunity for young guys. Guys like Jackson Lloyd and guys like that getting in there and taking reps, I think is really important. So, we're looking at it more from the standpoint of all these guys that need to be developed are absolutely going to have that opportunity. And really, realistically, that's what spring ball is for.
Coach, you mentioned before the presence of a strong run game is really important. What are your initial impressions of that, and what is your vision for the run game this coming season?
Well, I think that, right now we've only had 2 practices with no pads, so a little tough to assess that. But I think just a commitment to that in general, the mentality here at Alabama, I think, bodes well for that. I think that guys want to be physical type of football players. So for us, we're pretty wide as far as the type of runs that we run, just like we always have been. You're going to see inside, outside zone, counter, power, pin, pull, fly sweep, all the stuff we've always done. So I don't think anything from that standpoint will change. But I think that, the guys know that to win the late games and the playoffs and things like that, there has to be a mindset and demeanor that you got to be able to run the football.
On that same track, what have you noticed from AK here?
He's still learning. That's about it.
How would you describe yourself as a play caller and just your style?
Aggressive. I want to be aggressive. I want guys to, I think that when it works the best, the understanding that the players have that we got to be responsible with the football, not go backwards, make sure we're always matriculating the ball down the field, but then being ready for opportunity to take the shot.
Obviously, with past experience with Demarcus Shepard, Nick Sheridan, Kalen Ford, is that dynamic kind of returning to that? Is it kind of like riding a bike?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, like the first time I heard Shep being loud down the hallway, I just kind of had a big smile on my face. I think that the part that gets underestimated a little bit in situations like that is where, you have relationships that you have to go through bumps, right? Like tough things, whether it's on or off the field. I think when you put the investment and time into relationships like that, then when you got to figure out how to throw the ball against, cover 3, that part seems pretty easy. So I think that it's just familiarity and the ease of transition through some of the tough moments makes it a lot easier.
When you look at the film last year and then the time you've been able to spend with him so far, what's your impressions of Ty Simpson?
Ty is like I said, I think he's really improving. The thing I like and appreciate about Ty already that I can tell is he's very serious, about wanting to succeed, and I think he's had the mindset that he's been ready, in that he's kind of waiting in the wings, so to speak. So I think for me, it's just, I know that he's committed to the process. And I think that that's what makes great quarterbacks. As long as he understands that it's going to take a little bit and he's got to be committed to those steps, he's going to do great.
What areas have you seen Jeremy Bernard grow since your time at Washington?
Nothing. That guy, frick. I knew you right there. Germ is a guy that I think it was really cool seeing him come in to Washington, and we obviously had some really good receivers in that room. Germ always prepared with a lot of humility, and he was going to be ready to play the game no matter what his role was, and he was going to maximize those opportunities. And so now seeing him in a little bit different light where he's kind of the guy that's at the front of the room that everybody's looking to him is really cool. And, just classy guy, always has been. He's got the right mindset to be a winner.
You played a big role in recruiting Austin Mack. Just how excited are you to get your hands back on him and work with him again?
Yeah, I've always believed in Austin. I think he's got a big upside. Obviously, I thought he really had done a great job working on his technique, throwing motion, things like that. I can tell he's been working hard over the last year. So, and he's a very bright kid. I know that he can process the offense. He came into our system really, really young, 17-year-old freshman. And kind of the thought there was when we got Austin to Washington was that he would have 6 months with Mike Penix and kind of see how it's supposed to be done. And I certainly think he's gravitated to that. And it looks like he's matured a lot and excited to be with him.
What's your impression of Michael Carroll?
Say again?
What's your impression of Michael Carroll?
He's got a long ways to go. He's a great kid. A lot of these guys, it's tough. You asked me about AK and Michael. I think they're going to be great players. It's so much for those guys right now. They're drinking out of a fire hose, but they'll get there. I thought Michael was one guy. I will say this, that I thought during Coach Ballew's fourth quarter program was a guy that continued to climb, and accept the challenge of being out here and working hard. And so hope that translates to some good football this spring.
What do you see out of Ryan Williams year 2 and just the receiver group as a whole where they can go after last year?
Man, that is a talented room. And we're excited. I think, for Ryan, I think some of the contested catches and, he can separate so well already. But just you can already see the guy sitting in the front row at every meeting, wants to be, he's a sponge. He wants to get better, and he's asking questions, and I think that he will. I mean, I think the versatility on how you can use Ryan inside and outside is something that makes him a unique player.
Thanks.
You bet. Appreciate it.
Good meeting you.